Let me ask you something. You walk into an RV dealership. You see a Keystone, you see a Coachmen, you see a Forest River, you see a Grand Design, different logos, different salespeople, different price tags, some of them $20,000 apart. And you think you're choosing between competitors. You're not. Here's the thing, you are standing inside one of the most sophisticated brand illusion machines in American manufacturing. Those competing RVs, many of them rolled off assembly lines owned by the same three corporations, built with the same suppliers, the same staple gun construction techniques, and the same fundamental disregard for the person who's going to live in that thing. Today, we are pulling back the curtain. We are naming names. And by the end of this video, you will never walk into an RV dealership the same way again. Stop shopping like a victim and start thinking like an auditor. Let's start with the map, because the geography of RV ownership is genuinely shocking once you see it laid out. Three corporations control roughly 90% of the recreational vehicle market in the United States. Three, and their names are Thor Industries, Forest River, which is owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, and Rev Group. Let's go one by one. Thor Industries, based out of Elkhart, Indiana, which is, not coincidentally, the RV capital of the world. Thor owns somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 plus brands. We're talking Airstream. Yes, that Airstream, the shiny one you think is the premium exception. We're talking Keystone, Heartland, Jayco, Dutchman, Crossroads, KZ, Bison, Poseidon, Cruiser, Highland Ridge, Compass, Tiffin. Yes, Tiffin, which was long considered a boutique luxury brand before Thor swallowed it in 2019. The list goes on. If you've ever shopped for an RV and felt spoiled for choice, Thor wants that feeling. That feeling is the product. Forest River. Berkshire Hathaway acquired Forest River back in 2005, and what most buyers don't realize is that Forest River isn't really one company. It's more like a holding structure for dozens of brands operating under one financial umbrella. Coachmen, Rockwood, Flagstaff, Palomino, Berkshire, Primetime, Wolf Pup, Cardinal, Impression, Georgetown, Forester. The count gets into the 30s and 40s depending on how you categorize them. Warren Buffett is not a sentimental man. He is a returns man, and Forest River has delivered returns. Our Rev Group. Rev is slightly different in that their portfolio skews toward the high end and toward specialty vehicles, but they're still in the mix in a significant way. American Coach, Fleetwood RV, Holiday Rambler, Monaco. These are brands that carry decades of reputational weight, and RF owns that weight. Now, here's what this consolidation actually means for you, the buyer. When three corporations control 90% of a market, something very specific happens to competition. Real competition, the kind that actually benefits consumers, requires that companies feel existential pressure to improve their product. If your competitor builds something better than you lose customers and potentially go out of business. That pressure is what forces quality up and price down. But when one corporation owns both you and your competitor, that pressure evaporates. Translation: the brand war you think you're watching at the dealership is theater. It is a performance stage for your benefit, and the ticket price is your savings account. Let me take you to Elkhart County, Indiana. Roughly 80% of all RVs sold in America are built within a 30-mile radius of Elkhart. That's not hyperbole, that is the actual geographic concentration of this industry. And because of that concentration, something very predictable happened. The entire supply chain consolidated right along with it. The same companies make the windows. The same companies make the axles, the frames, the slides, the awnings, the appliances. Lippert Components, which goes by LCI, is probably the single most important company in the RV industry that you've never heard of. They manufacture or supply components for the vast majority of RVs sold in America. Slide-out systems, frames, chassis, leveling systems, furniture, even mattresses. Lippert is everywhere. What that means in practice is almost poetic in its irony. You can pay $50,000 for a budget brand and $250,000 for a luxury brand, and underneath the surface trim, you are looking at many of the same bones, same frames, same slide mechanisms, same wiring harnesses, same propane systems, same roof membrane materials. Here's the thing, the differentiation you're paying for at the high end is often cosmetic. Granite countertops instead of laminate. Residential style appliances instead of RV grade. Crown molding, better cabinet faces. But the structural skeleton, frequently identical. And the construction methods across virtually all of these brands at all price points have earned a reputation that the industry should be embarrassed about. We're talking about walls stapled together with aluminum staples into thin wood framing. Framing that, when moisture gets into it, which it will, begins to delaminate within years. We're talking about roofs that require annual resealing, or you will be dealing with water intrusion that turns into rot, that turns into a 5-figure repair bill. We're talking about electrical systems that consumer advocates and RV repair technicians have described repeatedly on the record as dangerously inconsistent. These things are held together by hope and self-tapping screws. That's not me being dramatic. That is the honest summary of what RV inspection professionals will tell you every single time you ask them. The National RV Inspectors Association exists because the quality control coming out of these factories is inconsistent enough that a whole profession of independent inspectors built a trade association around catching problems before delivery. Let that sink in. So let's talk about the scam, because that's what it is. When you go shopping for an RV and you're drawn to Grand Design because everyone on the forum says Grand Design is better, here is what you need to know. Grand Design was founded in 2012 by former Keystone executives. It built a strong reputation for customer service and quality control in its early years. Thor Industries acquired it in 2016 for $520 million. Now, is Grand Design still better than average? Consumer feedback suggests yes, their customer service reputation has held up better than most. But are they independent? Are they free from the cost pressures and margin targets that come with being a division of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate? Absolutely not. Same story with Tiffin's. The Tiffin family built that brand over decades in Red Bay, Alabama. It was the gold standard in motorhome quality for a long time. A genuine family operation that prioritized customer relationships to a degree that was almost eccentric by industry standards. Bob Tiffin was famous for giving customers his personal phone number. Then Thor acquired Tiffin in 2019. And the reviews since then tell a different story. Not universally bad, but the complaints about declining quality and customer service responsiveness are consistent enough to notice. Translation: when a private equity-backed conglomerate buys a quality brand, it is not buying it to maintain the quality. It is buying the brand equity, the reputation, the name recognition, the customer loyalty that the original founders spent decades building, and it is monetizing that equity by extracting margin. They are selling you the ghost of a company that no longer exists. This is not speculation. This is the documented pattern of consolidation across American manufacturing. It happened in the boat industry. It happened in the motorcycle industry. It is happening in the RV industry in real time. And if you're finding this breakdown useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the noise. Now let's talk about the dealership itself, because the consolidation story doesn't end at the manufacturer level. The dealership network has been consolidating too. Camping World, publicly traded RV-specific mega retailer, has been on an acquisition run for years, gobbling up regional dealers across the country. When you walk into what used to be a family-owned regional dealership and it now has a Camping World sign above the door, you are walking into a publicly traded company with obligations to shareholders that rank considerably higher than your satisfaction with your slide out. The incentive structure at these dealerships is something you need to understand completely before you sign anything. RV dealers make their money in several ways. They make it on the front end, the markup on the unit itself. They make it on financing, dealer reserve, which is the spread between the rate the lender approves you for and the rate the dealer actually charges you. They make it on aftermarket add-ons, protection packages, paint sealant, tire and wheel coverage, extended warranties. And they make it on service, the back end of the house, where the margins on labor and parts are significant. Here's the thing, none of those revenue streams are maximized by selling you a well-built RV that doesn't need service. The service department exists as a profit center. An RV that requires frequent warranty visits is not a problem for the dealership. In some ways, it is the business model. This is not a conspiracy. This is just incentive alignment. When you understand where the money actually flows, the whole experience snaps into focus. The quality certified sticker on the unit means it passed an inspection conducted by a technician paid by the E, same organization that profits from your repeat service visits. Translation: the fox is inspecting the hen house and they're charging you for the inspection. The RV industry has one of the highest rates of significant defect at delivery of any manufactured product category in the country. Consumer advocacy groups and independent inspectors put the number of new RVs with at least one significant defect at delivery somewhere between 60 and 90%, depending on the study, 60 to 90%, on a product that might cost you more than your first home. You might be thinking, Okay, but there's warranty coverage. If something's wrong, they have to fix it. And yes, on paper, there is warranty coverage. But the warranty experience in the RV industry is a special kind of consumer betrayal. First, the manufacturer warranty and the dealer are separate entities. Your warranty is with the manufacturer. The dealer services it, but the dealer is reimbursed at a flat rate by the manufacturer. And that flat rate is almost always lower than what the dealer would charge a retail customer for the same repair. So the dealer has a financial incentive to prioritize retail work over warranty work. Your unit sits, weeks pass, parts get back ordered. You call, you get routed, you wait. Second, and this is the part that genuinely shocks people, RV lemon law protections in the United States are dramatically weaker than those for automobiles. Most states have robust automotive lemon laws that kick in after a defined number of failed repair attempts. RV lemon law coverage varies wildly by state, and in many states it is either absent entirely or applies only to the motorized chassis component, meaning the engine and drivetrain, and not to the living quarters. The living quarters, where all the expensive problems actually live, are frequently not covered. The industry has lobbied against stronger lemon law protections for decades. The RV Industry Association, the trade group that represents the manufacturers, has consistently opposed legislation that would extend automotive-style lemon law protections to RVs. They have been, in most legislative sessions, successful. This is not palliative care for a sick product. This is the active suppression of consumer rights to protect a business model built on thin construction and thin accountability. If this is already saving you from a headache, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next. All right, we have spent a lot of time in the dark. Let's talk about what you actually do with this information, because knowing the system is broken doesn't help you if you still need to buy an RV. Rule 1, never skip the independent inspection. Before you take delivery of any new or used RV, regardless of brand, regardless of price point, hire a certified inspector from the National RV Inspectors Association. This costs somewhere between $300 and $600 typically, depending on the size of the unit and the inspector's location. That is the single best $300 to $600 you will spend in the entire RV buying process. These inspectors have no financial relationship with the dealer or the manufacturer. Their only obligation is to you, and they will find things. They always find things. Rule 2, research the ownership structure before you research the brand. Before you get emotionally attached to a floor plan, go look up who owns that brand. Thor, Forest River, Reve? Then look at the reviews from the last 12 months specifically, not the brand's historical reputation, which may reflect the pre-acquisition era. The quality and service culture of these brands can shift significantly after acquisition. You want current data. Rule 3, join the owner forums before you buy, not after. Every major RV brand has an owner community online, Reddit threads, Facebook groups, dedicated forums. Spend 2 weeks reading the complaint posts before you commit to a brand, not the happy posts, the complaint posts. Look at what breaks, how the manufacturer responded, how the dealer handled it. That is your real quality report. Rule 4, negotiate the service agreement, not just the price. When you're at the dealership, the negotiation that most people neglect is not the sticker price, it's the service commitment. Get in writing. What is the promised turnaround time for warranty repairs? What loaner or rental coverage is available while your unit is in for service? What is the escalation path if repairs fail multiple times? Push for specifics. Vague verbal reassurances from a sales manager are worth exactly nothing when your slide won't retract 200 miles from home. Rule 5. Understand the financing math completely before you sign. RV loans are long, 10, 15, even 20 years on some units. At those loan durations, the interest you pay will, in many cases, exceed the original purchase price of the RV. And because these units depreciate significantly in the first few years of ownership, you will almost certainly be underwater, owing more than the unit is worth for a significant portion of that loan term. If the unit develops serious problems during that underwater period, your options are brutal. Know this going in. Rule 6. Consider the used market with fresh eyes. The retail hysteria of the pandemic RV boom, 2020 and 2021, pushed new RV prices to genuinely irrational levels, and it pushed a massive number of hastily built units out into the world. Many of those units are now hitting the used market at significant discounts, and many of them have already had their initial defects discovered and repaired by their first owners. A 2 or 3 year old unit that a first owner bought at peak prices, had inspected, repaired, and is now selling at a realistic post-boom price. that can be a legitimately better value proposition than a brand new unit with an untested build quality. But, and this is non-negotiable, independent inspection still applies. On a used unit, it applies even more. I want to be fair here because the picture is not entirely black. Within this consolidated landscape, there are pockets of genuine integrity. They are harder to find. They require more research, but they exist. Airstream, despite being owned by Thor, has maintained a manufacturing process that is genuinely differentiated. The aluminum monocoque construction is not a marketing story. It is a fundamentally different building method that produces a fundamentally more durable unit. The resale value date on Airstream is not an accident. If you can afford the premium and you're looking at travel trailers, Airstream is one of the rare cases where the premium price reflects something real under the skin. Oliver Travel Trailers, based in Hohenwald, Tennessee, is genuinely independent. Family-owned fiberglass construction built to a standard that is simply not comparable to the Elkhart production line model. The waitlist and the price reflect that. But if you are shopping for a small to mid-sized travel trailer and longevity is your primary criterion, Oliver belongs in the conversation. Leisure travel vans, Canadian-built, genuinely premium construction, strong reputation that has held up over time. The floor plans are innovative and the build quality shows in the ownership experience. If you're in the Class B or Bulk Plus category, these belong on your list. Newmar, now owned by Winnebago Industries, which is itself a mid-sized public company rather than one of the big three, has maintained a reputation for quality control in the luxury motorhome segment that is relatively defensible. Winnebago, to their credit, has been more transparent about quality initiatives than Thor or Forest River, though they are absolutely not immune to the same industry-wide pressures. The common thread among the brands worth a second look: differentiated construction methods, not just differentiated trim packages. When a brand can explain how they build differently, not just what they put inside, that is a signal worth weighing. Here's the bottom line. The RV industry, as currently structured, is a consolidation story dressed up as a consumer choice story. 3 corporations controlling 90% of the market, building products in the same 40-mile radius, with many of the same components protected by weaker consumer laws than almost any other manufactured product you will ever buy, and selling those products through a dealer network whose financial incentives are not aligned with your satisfaction. That is the reality. It is not a rumor. It is not forum paranoia. It is the documented, publicly available structural reality of this industry. But, and I want to be direct about this, knowing the reality does not mean you cannot buy an RV or that you cannot find a unit that serves you well for years. It means you have to stop shopping like a tourist and start operating like an auditor. You have to bring rigor to a process that the industry has designed to be driven by emotion. The floor plan reveal, the smell of new upholstery, the salesperson walking you through the slide out like it's a magic trick. Don't get seduced by the trick. Get the inspection, do the research, understand the ownership tree, read the form complaints, negotiate the service terms, know your financing math. The information exists, the tools exist, the independent inspectors exist, the owner communities exist. You now know what questions to ask. Use them. Let me know in the comments which brand on this list surprised you the most. And if you want to make smarter choices, subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one.